Good morning. I bring you greetings from Crossroads Christian Ministries, where Apostle Cheryl is our lead teacher. I am Sister Danny, and I'm going to be coming to you live and direct from just a thought. And I tell God, thank you so much for my being here. Thank God for Jesus on today. I was sitting at my desk at work, and I was just reminiscing, meditating on the goodness of Jesus, thanking God for everything that He has done for me just in that day thus far up to that point. And as I was reminiscing and thanking God for everything that He's done for me, God placed this thought in my heart. And I'm not going to be before you long, but He placed this thought in my heart, and He said, I don't know if you're going to hear me, so the goal is perfection. And achievement of this goal is manifested through consistency. I was like, okay. Our goal as believers is perfection. And not what our mind thinks of perfection, but spiritual perfection, is just completion in God. So our goal as believers is completion in God, equivalent to perfection. But the achievement of the goal is going to take consistency. Consistency is conformity in application of something which is necessary for the sake of accuracy. Because without accuracy, there is no perfection, no completion. So we have to conform in application of something, and I'm going to tell you what that something is, which is necessary for the sake of accuracy. And it ends it with steadfastness. Because that is all consistency is. To be steadfast in something, whatever you are consistent in. As believers, we have to be steadfast in the resources. So consistent application, because that's the something. The resources that God has given to us. So consistent application of His resources supplies equipment for ministry. God has given us many gifts, many resources. And I'm not just talking about the gift of your hands or your own personal gift, like if you are able to sing, able to draw, all of these things. But He's given us tools by which we can withstand life and everything that life gives us to conform now to the accuracy or the completion in God. So on this journey of truth, life, and change, God has given us humility. God has given us faith. God has given us trust. He's given us mercy and grace. He's given us, and these are just some things, just the spiritual gifts that God has given us. He's given us peace. He's given us the temperance that we need. So all of these resources that God has given unto us as believers in order to achieve the goal of completion in Christ, we have to consistently base our lives in these resources and apply them on our journey. So if God has made you faithful through whatever, because how does faith come? Faith comes by hearing, the Word of God says, and hearing by the Word. But in our everyday lives, faith comes through the things that we go through. Our different tests, our different trials, misunderstandings maybe, the things that come to afflict us. All these things are supposed to build our faith. So if these things are coming to build our faith, and our faith is built, and how do we know that our faith is built? Once we go through this thing, whatever it is, we can still say that God took us through and we remained in God. So we now have become faithful. We have to be consistent in that in order to complete this journey. So if God has given you something to be faithful, He wants us to remain faithful still. If God has given us something to humble us, then he wants us to be humble. If he has given us something to grow our strength in him, we have to consistently remain strengthened. And I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but the goal for all of our lives is completion. The completion in God. So I was like, God, thank you. He just sat and he threw all that in me all at once. And I'm like, well, Lord, I understand your word. I believe your word. Your rhema word, which is the word that God has given to us, just now. But I was like, Lord, can you give me a scripture, based in your word? Because sometimes when you tell people things and you say God said it, sometimes people don't believe you. But as believers, we all should have a hunger and a thirst for the knowledge of the word. So I was like, Lord, could you give me a piece of your word that is congruent with what you have imparted into me? And he had. It's coming from 1 Corinthians, and I am almost done. Chapter 16, verse 13. And I just want to break this scripture down and how it relates to what I just said to you about the thought that God gave me. It says, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. Now, everything encased in this verse is a directive. He's given us directions. Because we're going to need directives and directions in this way, because we ourselves, natural, so do not know this way. But Christ in us will lead us. So what he's telling us to do by the Spirit that should reflect the natural is to guard ourselves. When he says watch, it means to guard yourself, meaning be watchful of the entrances of our temple. So I have to guard my eyes, because that's an entranceway. I have to guard my ears, that's an entranceway. I have to guard my mouth, that's an entranceway. So I have to guard these things and be careful and very, very conscious of what I place myself in the hearing of. Now, I understand that we are in different places that we are obligated to, like our jobs maybe. And it's so funny. I'm not a radio listener, but at my job, they have I don't know what it's called, a built-in radio, I guess, that they play, but they don't turn it to an easy listening channel. They turn it to whatever channel the Steve Harvey Morning Show is for the Montgomery area. So it's all manner of things that play, starting with the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Now, I have nothing against Steve Harvey, I have nothing against his morning show, but sometimes the things that they discuss on the show, if you're not careful, you can be overtaken in that. And it's not positive things. Now, I will be honest, he'll come at the end and he'll say something positive that the Lord has given him or whatever, but all before, it's just some craziness and some foolishness. People are allowed to write into the show about their different stories about their life and stuff like that. And some of these stories are very, very outrageous. And so if you're not careful, if you don't guard yourself, if I don't guard myself, some of these things that enter in can really take root in me. And then after that happens, what occurs? You start acting a certain way, you start thinking a certain way, you start believing a certain way. That's contrary to what your steadfastness or your consistency is supposed to be. So I understand sometimes, I said all that to say, I understand sometimes we are obligated to be in certain places where we can't control what is being said. But as believers, we have to guard ourselves, hear it, but don't hear it, and allow what is already rooted, grounded, and settled in us to take precedence over that. We also have to guard where we place ourselves to see things. Some things are unavoidable, but there's some things that are avoidable. Like whenever we give over to maybe the television, or we give maybe over into the computer or the tablet or the phone, whatever source you find that you can watch, we have to guard ourselves for that. Also, we have to guard what comes out of our mouth. Because the Word of God says that it's not what goes in a man that devours him, but what comes out. So we have to guard what we say, how we say it. And as believers, if it's not God speaking, then it's probably best for us just to shut our mouths. So watch ye, guard yourself, guard your temple, guard your entranceways, and remain steadfast in what God has already placed in you. the second part of that, it says stand fast in the faith. That simply means be consistent in your faith, in God's precepts and sound doctrine. So whatever God has said, whatever God has spoken, the doctrine, the gospel, the rules, the statutes, the guidelines, the directives of God, put your faith in that. And then once you place your faith in it, stand on your faith in it. Meaning, don't be movable, don't be shaken, don't be tossed and driven to and fro, but allow what God has given to you to be faith-based in you, remain in that. It says, quit you like men. And I've heard that so many times. I'm like, what does that even mean? But now I got it. It means just to be mature. Be mature. And whenever God revealed that to me, the conjoining scripture he gave me is, many that are led by the Spirit are the sons of God. So the Spirit is the one that matures us, or what matures us. So I have to remain consistent in the Spirit that I can be mature and remain mature. Because there's a lot of things as believers that come to us. Because I'm a firm believer in, if you're not being messed with, if you're not being toyed with, if calamity is not coming to your house by some way or another, that means that Satan already got you. But for the ones that are fighting just to remain in God, there's going to be opposition. There's going to be things that come to oppose God in us. And if we're not mature in God and we don't allow Christ to stand up in us at that time, we will fall. Because what happens is we'll allow the emotional things to trump or take precedence over the Spirit, and we will act immaturely. But in order for us to achieve the goal of completion and perfection, we've got to allow the Spirit to mature us, and then we have to be consistent in that. And the last part about that is be strong. This strong means to take courage and strength in the power of God that he gives us through the resources that I just spoke to you about. So take courage and strengthen the power that you can have joy. You can have peace. When life twists and turns come to you, you can still remain joyful. You can still remain peaceful. You can still remain humble. You can still remain faithful. You can still remain trustworthy. All of the resources that God, you can be temperate, meek, lowly. All of the resources that God has given unto us by which we're supposed to live this life, we can take courage and strengthen the power that God gives us that we can remain in these things. One last thing before I let you all go. Consistent application of these resources supply equipment for ministry. We all have a ministry. And I'm not talking about Crossroads Christian Ministries or any other ministries that may be open up in the name of God. But I'm talking about to each their own. Everybody has their own ministry that they have to conduct, but we all have a collective ministry. And one would say it's the ministry of reconciliation because that's what the word says. But what God allowed me to experience on this week is outreach. That's what the ministry of reconciliation is. It's outreach. The ministry that's within you, which is Christ, leading you to different places where he guides you, saying in those places what needs to be said, doing in those places what needs to be done, that God be glorified. And I say to Crossroads today, the exchange and outreach is how this house will be built. And that's what God gave me. And I got to tell you all the story, and I'm done. I know you love my stories. So, I just began to feel so tired in my body. And I've been tired in my body for a long time. But I'm seeing the residual effects of the weight gain that I have endured take hold on my body. I live upstairs, and from the bottom stair, maybe to the top stairs, probably like 8 or 9 steps. From the bottom step to probably like the 5th step, I am so winded getting in my house. Don't let me have nothing in my hand, because I literally have to stop before I get to the last step in order to make it in my house. And so I feel God don't have to come to you in a dream about certain things. God don't have to let a prophet come to you and prophesy. You can just be cognizant of situations and understand something needs to change. There has to be a difference that has to be made. So, with that being said, I'm out of breath, my heart races, my blood pressure goes through the roof, and I know these things, if uncontrolled, death is imminent. So, I was like, Lord, I got to do something. And I have one of those mothers that she's very, very loving, very, very concerned about her children. And so, anytime I tell them, I'm so achy, I'm hurting, my legs hurt, my joints hurt, all these things that come because I have extra weight on my body really can't, hold all of this. She's like, Danny, you need to do something different. You need to exercise. You need to eat better. Which all of those things are true. So, I was talking to this individual, and I was telling this individual, well, I had noticed that they lost weight. And I was like, well, I said, you lost weight. I said, well, how did you do it? And I tell God, thank you, because you know how you be doing stuff and you be faking doing it, like you just want to sound important, or maybe you want to sound interested, but you really have no dedication to what you're saying. You really have no commitment to what you're saying. You're just saying stuff. For a long time, I would do that. I would look at them like, oh, girl, you look good. What'd you do? I really don't care what they did, because I have no intention of implementing anything that they did. And so I started out that way with this person. I was like, oh, you look good. What did you do? With really no intention. Even after now, all these things have been happening. All these warnings God has been speaking to me. Like, what you did? They told me that they changed their eating habits and they started walking. And I was like, even before that, I was like, yeah, Ma. Because sometimes I be telling her stuff to get her off my back. I'm like, yeah, Ma. I said, what I'm going to do is, I said, there's this lady at my job. I know she be walking during lunch. I said, she talks some stuff that really, going back to guard yourself, she talks some stuff that really like, why are you saying that? But I was like, but I'm willing if it's going to help me get some of this weight off, because I'm really trying to get off my blood pressure medicine. I'm really trying to do this. I'm really trying to do that. So if it's going to help me, I'm just going to ask her if she'll be my walking partner. And so I never got around to ask her. Mama had asked me, she's like, well, Danny, have you seen the lady that walks? I was like, you know what? I have seen her. She's like, well, did you ask? No, ma'am, I didn't. I said, but I'm going to ask her the next time I see her. With no intentions, God forgive me, of asking. So, back to the subject at hand. I asked the person what they did. They told me they began walking. And they were like, Danielle, you should walk with me. Look at God. Look at God. Danielle, you should walk with me. I was like, I should. This is my response. Like, I should. I said, but you just be so busy. I said, and maybe our schedules are going to conflict. So, and the person's like, no. Because this is the type of God we serve, with consistency and accuracy. No, you tell me your schedule, and I'll just do with you. I'll just conform to your schedule. I was like, because he's going to leave us without an excuse. And so I was like, I'm like, well, I've been real busy in the ministry and stuff like that, so I just really, I don't know when I can give it to you. But outreach, y'all, I'm going somewhere with this outreach. And so I was like, I don't know what time I can give you. And her's like, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And tomorrow was Friday, so y'all know that was my off day. I was like, dog, I'm not doing anything. And so we can start Friday. So the person's like, well, when do you want to go? I'm like, They said it's better for you to wake up early that morning and do it, so you'll just get into it instead of waiting later on and never do it. So I was like, I said, you got a point. I said, how does 2 o'clock in the afternoon sound? And they was like, no, you're defeating. No, it's not. I was like, I was like, Fridays are my days that I sleep in. I said, I don't work 40 hours and 4 days. 40 hours and 4 days. I said, that's a lot. I said, that's 10 hours a day. I said, I'd be tired. I said, I have to, catch up on the rest that I need to get on Friday. And they were like, well, no, that's why you should just get up early. I was like, okay, what do you suggest? They were like 9 o'clock. I said, who? In the morning? And they were like, yes, Danielle, in the morning. I said, okay. I said, all right. I said 9:30. They were like, no, 9 o'clock. I said 10. I said, because let me tell you, I got something I got to do in the morning. But that was true. I said, I got something I have to do in the morning. I said, so let me do what I have to do in the morning. I said, after that, I said, I promise I will meet you. Friday morning came. It was like 8:40 something. The person texted me. And I was asleep. I was so glad they texted me and didn't call me because I was asleep. I didn't even get up to do what I had to do that morning. And so they texted me, and whenever I didn't respond quick enough, that's when they called me. So I was like, hello. They were like, Danielle, where are you at? I was like, I'm sick. That's what I would tell people. I was like, I'm sick. And the person's like, no, you're not. You're asleep. I was like, yeah, I'm asleep. You got me. I'm asleep. Like, well, did you even get up and do what you had to do? I was like, no. I said, I told you I'd be tired in the morning. Like, get up, Danielle. Get up right now. I'm like, I can't. I said, but for real. I said, for real. I said, I will get up by 10, like I said, and I will meet you at the designated area. God would have it. I got up. Outreach. So, and the exchange. Because that's how our ministries, our house is going to be built, on the exchange. So, I get to the designated spot with this person, and I'm tired. I am so tired, but I was like, Lord, I'm like, help me, because I understand this. If I keep on going the route that I'm going, then I'm going to die. I know that. So, Lord, help me. If I don't even see spiritually, so Lord, make me understand that. So, I got there, the person beat me there. And whenever I got out my car, the person was like, okay, you made it. We're going to do 30 minutes. I said, 30 minutes? I said, well, yeah. I said, Mama say do 30 minutes anyway. I said, but I know me. I said, I got to do 15 minutes, so we got to take a break. I said, then we can do the next 15 minutes. I said, because I get winded so easily. Don't shake your head, Mama. But anyways, but that was me. But look at God. And so I was like, they were like, no, we're going to do the whole 30. He goes, we're going to pace ourselves, and we're going to, be able to walk this thing on out. As we're walking, the person that I was walking with, they're very chatty as well. But I tell God, thank you. This goes back to the guarding of yourself. The Spirit of God, if you get in your word, if you remain steadfast in what God has already delivered to you, then your soul will become fortified. Your spirit will become fortified. So that's how I can sit in the doctor's office and listen to the foolishness that comes through the sound system, and I don't have to be bothered by it. I can walk with somebody, and they can say whatever they want to say to me, and I'm not bothered by it. But I tell God, thank you for the conversation that we had. Now, church era, I would have been trying to prophesy to this person. I would have been trying to witness to this person. I would have been like, you need to be, how was you baptized? I would have been a whole interrogation, whole interview with this person. I'm like, yeah, I got 30 minutes with you. You finna feel this. You finna feel Jesus. If you don't walk about in this park saved, sanctified, and do with the Holy Ghost, I know something. But I tell God, thank you for change, ministry, and outreach. So the person has been going through some things. Really bad things, let that person tell it. I don't sign feelings, I don't judge. I can't feel for you, but distraught. And all that person needed was me to hear, me to listen. Of course, I gave back, but it wasn't in the fashion how I would have. We had a conversation. Before I knew it, we had worked an hour and a half. Not even 30 minutes. never got winded, never felt bad, none of that. Because I really do believe it was outreach and ministry. So, it was over. At the end of it, we parted ways. I get a text message after it's all said and done. And the text message goes, I'm trying to remember it all. I don't want to read it because part of the text message is personal. But the part that I want to share with you all is this. Thank you so much, Danielle, for your time. And I was like, well, no, I wasn't out there, I didn't respond. This is how I went in my heart. I'm like, well, no, that person don't thank you for my time, because I was out there too, trying to better myself, better, my health and stuff like that. But the more I revelated on that, God allowed me to know that there is an exchange and there is a tithe that we have to give. And anytime people talk about tithe, people get scared because they think that we're going to talk about money. But it's not. I have the tithe of my time.
That's right.
And people would say, well, how you do that is during your prayer time. But no, it's not. God allowed me to know. And I thank God so much. God for his love and his relationship with me. But that's not you tithing of your time. That's intimacy between you and God. People say, well, if you fast, you're tithing of your time. That is not tithing of your time. That's the intimacy between you and God. But ministry and outreach is the tithing of your time. You will know that you did what God said, and I had to put him there walking buddy because I had to remind myself, equivalent to the tithe of your time to God, because you don't know in that session, that encounter, what God is doing for that person, what God is going to do in that person's life, where you're taking that person's mind outside of what they are, leading them to believe that, okay, I may be this place, I may be that, I may be stuck in this, but I know that there is greater for me, and there's a God for me that can take me to the place where I need to go. So, you know that you tithe of your time correctly through the gratitude. The text was filled with gratitude. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I just needed somebody that I could talk to. I just needed somebody that I could tell this to. And I thank you for saying what you said back to me. If I be consistent in that, Crossroads, if we be consistent in that, because he gave it to me, he gave me the key. If we be consistent in that, the exchange is how, in outreach and ministry, the exchange is how this house is going to be built. So do something that you wouldn't normally do. Now, I not only have a walking partner, but the person's supposed to come to church. And it's so funny to me because we look for things that is comfortable for us. We look for things that make sense. I look for things in ministry, in the spirit, that makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me, that's not spiritual. But this person, if you see them, you would not believe that me and this person should be walking together. But God is He's the goalkeeper. And what we have to do is just conform. That's it. Conform in application for the sake of accuracy. Not my accuracy, not how I see it, not how I believe it to be so, but the way God would have it to be, that I may be steadfast in completion. And once we do that, mother, find you a walking partner. Find you somebody that you can go and you can walk the track, and just be a person that is there. Just be a person, because the exchange in that is, you become healthier yourself. Not just naturally, but spiritually so. And that's what I learned. And I tell God thank you. And I just didn't learn it for myself. I was able, through God, I take no glory of myself, but I was able, through God, to help another part of the kingdom, that this house be built. Because I had to slide in. Okay, so you want to come to church? I can't get away from that.
Right.
I train, excuse me. Do you want to come to my training center? But if I do say church, I explain to them, how we're set up, so they won't be intimidated and think that this is a house of judgment, but understand that this is a house of refuge. So I tell God, thank you so much. I bless God for the lesson. I thank God for relationship. I truly understand on today that this way is better. Even though I thought I was in the way, Saul, this way is better. And I glorify God for that. And I say, God bless you to you. Please, please, please take believers, even non-believers, people who want to believe, but can't bring themselves. We all have a goal in God. We all have to come to completion in God, in this life. I'm not talking about heaven. I'm talking about in this life, before we can even make it to the place that God has called us to be eternally. And it's only manifested through consistency, ministry, and outreach. God bless you.